And welcome back to Janky AF and Year of the Aerostar, episode number 40. Well, that's a little milestone there, I suppose, and we're going to have a real good one for you. It's going to be kind of a longer one, I think, so buckle up, strap in, and here we go. You'll notice I'm wearing my Cooperstown Charlotte Valley Railroad shirt today, and I was on the Blues train, that's what they call it. They have live bands that play on a moving train. It's quite fantastic. Shout out to them. But I really like this shirt, and I haven't been thought about buying it, and they have a new style now. This is the older style, so it'll get harder to find. And I bought it, and I really, really like it, and I like trains, and very fortuitously, I get to wear it today, and that will give you an inkling as to the color of this vehicle. And here we are, and here we have a 1991 Ford Aerostar XLT minivan, listed in it was listed 2 weeks ago in Grand Blanc, Michigan. I wasn't going to say 2 weeks ago because I usually don't, but there you go. Now you know how long it's been on the interwebs. For just $2,500 about this vehicle. 106,999 miles, automatic transmission, exterior color blue, interior color gray. Now, a little, and this is going to be sort of an Aerostar sleuthing video, and I love Aerostar sleuthing. Now, you'll see it's 15.0 liters per 100 kilometers city, 22.0 liters per 100 kilometers highway, and then a combined fuel economy of 18.0 liters per 100 kilometers. So that will give you a little idea of, you know, perhaps this is a, there's something different with this Aerostar. Seller's description, 1991 Ford Aerostar. It has a 3.0. Interior not the nicest, but decent condition. 106 XXX miles, which is funny because they put 999, now they're putting XXX, which they do serve the same purpose, but it's funny. It's kind of like rating 4 in two different ways. Sometimes it's like the box, and sometimes it's like the triangle, you know? Gets the job done, but there's variety. It is FWD. And I say that, which is another thing about sleuthing we'll get into, but it's FWD. Now, what does that mean? We'll find out. Good running van, new tires, clean title, $2,500 firm. Open for some trades. Let me know what you have. Worst I can tell you is no. And I do like that. It's a very friendly, you know, worst I can say is no. That means they're not going to be calling you names or, you know, and they've sworn to that oath is the worst they can say is no. If ad is up, it is available. So, appreciate that. Well, so much to get to with this Aerostar. First of all, I'll say 1991, very interesting year for the Aerostar. It was sort of in transition from first gen to second gen. You already had your first gen, your second gen grille. Your grille style has changed to a 3-spoke here. Although, yeah, and it is actually, but it's great. I love these grills. I love 91. So 86, 87, 88, you hear me count this up, is the first style. 89, 90, 91 would be the second style grill. And that has the Ford blue oval in the middle. So it's still your 3-spoke modern grill, but the Ford logo is in the middle instead of at the top. That's how you tell. And this was the last year of that, I guess. So what's cool about that is it's very rare. Now it is just as rare as the 5-spoke grill on the 86 through 88. However, you're so used to seeing this grill with the Aerostar logo at the top. So it's just sort of a little Easter egg in there. It's like, it looks like modern, but then you're like, oh wait, hold on, maybe something's off. And you see that Ford logo in the middle. I've actually seen people on message boards, I think, unless I'm just totally making this up in my Aerostar brain, which is possible, that people have argued over which grill style they like better, and people were kind of flummoxed as to why Ford would put the logo up at top, because it's not, you know, symmetrical and like uniform. And I don't know, I'm just so used to looking at the Ford logo at the top that this looks good, but it doesn't, the one at the top doesn't really bother me. It's such a minor thing, but I like that. I like that it's a weird, you know, it'll go into the annals of time as like, oh yeah, like we don't like this and we want to move it up to the top for some reason. I don't know, the feng shui, who knows the story behind that, but I would love to know the story of that very sort of minuscule detail why the Ford logo got moved. But there you have it, 91. So it looks like a, sort of the, I hate to say second generation because it was only one generation, but the facelifted, let's say, modernized Aerostar. And of course, this blue is very sparkling and beautiful. Now we get to see it really in a little bit of light, and we can already see that there's some very, very nice pinstriping going down the side, a nice gradient pattern, which I happen to love, and this pinstripe along your sort of arched, space shuttle line there. The other thing you'll notice immediately is that the headlight bezels and the grille are also body colored, which would happen on the Sport package. But this does not appear to be a Sport package because we don't see any Sport logos in script. We don't see any running boards. So maybe this was custom done, or maybe Ford actually offered it as a package. A long, long time ago, you could specify just about anything from a dealership, and for the right price, they'd do it. I wonder if Ford was still kind of doing that in those days, where for, $300, you could have the grille and the headlight bezels painted body color. Maybe that was like sort of an option, even if it wasn't one that they necessarily advertise, that if you talk to the right salesman or whatever, that you could kind of have the factory do it. I wonder about that. Another wonderful picture. The other thing we're going to notice, and just a lot of like small details on this van that are very interesting and cool, is these aftermarket wheels. Now they are probably 15s. A lot of people upgrade from the stock 14s to 15s. Maybe even 16, who knows? And I'm not sure what they're from. I can't place them, so they might just be sort of a generic aftermarket wheel, or maybe they are from another Ford product. One interesting touch here, the silver gradient pinstriping looks nice against the silver bumper, and it kind of, just like shows you that momentum. The only thing I'll say is, because you have so much silver on the body as well as the bumper, I almost want to see this in a two-tone with the silver on this, bottom portion of the your rockers and door lines and all that. I'm not going to say it looks funny. I think it looks good, but it kind of cries out. Or probably what would make more sense is to paint your actual bumpers the body color, because then you'd have them matching the grille as well, and that would really, really look sharp. So just some sort of aesthetic ramblings there. Let's get into the interior. We see another beautiful rear quarter 3-shot. You have a little bit of bumper damage. It does look like you have a tow hitch, and it looks like, I'm just noticing this now, you have a great little padlock holding the door shut. So that's a very nice janky touch. Of course, by 91, the Aerostar badge had moved to the rear and is no longer on the front quarter panel. I actually really liked it on the front quarter panel. It have that on my brown 86, and it just like seems like a proud sports car, something where you expect to see like a Camaro logo or something like that. I think it looks really good in the front. However, it's very tasteful in the rear, and I appreciate that too. So just another one of those little subtle changes. But as you can see here, we still have the first generation or pre-facelift interior. So, I kind of say this, it's funny because it's actually the same years, I think. I think the 1990 and maybe 89 Corvettes, the C4s, they updated their interior and they got the 6-speed transmission instead of the 4+3 Doug Nash. However, they still kept the round taillights, and they had not gone to the square taillights yet. So some people kind of say it's the best of both worlds. You get the modern interior, upgraded transmission, but you still have the styling, because obviously with Corvette taillights, people are very purist about it. And of course now they're nothing like round taillights. And I do prefer the round ones, but I actually like those square ones a bit too. It's whatever you're going for. Anyways, I'm noticing right now too, a lot of cool features on this. A sunroof. Now we have seen, I feel like, some sunroofs before, but certainly a sunroof on an Aerostar is cool. Again, I'm guessing that was not a factory option, but who knows? This thing has like a lot of weird things going on with it that you're not quite sure if these are factory options we just don't know about, or if they're customizations that have been done probably at some cost. Like obviously this person specified this Aerostar very specifically, which I really like. Interesting, unusual interior. Obviously it is your first pre-facelift interior, so you have your giant stock automatic transmission. The interior color is one we don't see often, where it is like a blue, but it's more of a gray, but it's a grayish blue. And actually, I've actually said one time that I wish they did different color pipings on the seats, and here we can see they actually did. They did a white piping with this sort of blue on it's almost got a little purplish in it. It's a very interesting interior color. You don't see it a lot, and I have a feeling it only stuck around for certain years. I think this middle period, Ford was sort of experimenting with where they wanted the Aerostar to go. And you see some unique combinations of things. And I think later on it was mostly just either gray or like a tan seat. And if it did have piping, it was usually red. I have not seen too many like this. Of course, there was a red Aerostar interior, but I have a feeling those were, maybe I've seen a red one with a 95 with a red interior. But the red interior is like that's like the holy grail for me. I would love to get an Aerostar with a red interior because it was just redded out. You know, just everything was red. Dashboard, steering wheel, seats. I think seat belts, like everything. It's so cool looking. That would be sort of a dream spec for me. But nonetheless, still a very cool sort of underrated spec here. And you do get a lot of differentiation in color. We've talked about how the fabrics are different, but the color is very, very different. It's probably the most two-tone you'll see these seats. And I just think it looks really cool, frankly. And for like a factory seat on a modestly priced minivan, kind of a cool custom seat. You know, you could put these in a different car and it'd be like a cool upgrade or something like that. So love the Aerostar seats. And we do have sort of a blue / gray interior, which is interesting. All your frame rails of your seats are blue. Your carpeting looks like it's blue, but the dashboard is sort of more of a gray. So that's very, very interesting as well. Moving around to the front. Now this is where it starts to get interesting. So they say it has the 3.0, 3-liter motor, not surprising. That's normal. However, they say it is FWD, which usually means front wheel drive, but I was thinking maybe because, you know, Aerostar didn't come in front wheel drive, maybe they mean 4-wheel drive, which you usually, you know, write as 4WD, but front and 4 do start with the same letter F. So it's possible. However, the Aerostar only came, the all-wheel drive Aerostar, the electronic 4-wheel drive, which is kind of confusing because it kind of is more of like an all-wheel drive system from what I've been told. All those all-wheel drive models came standard with the 4-liter motor, or engine. I'm sorry, cousin Scott has told me not to say motor when it's an engine, so I apologize. The 4-liter engine, and he is correct, of course. So I'm honoring his automotive knowledge and wisdom. So that would mean either somehow a 3-liter got into an all-wheel drive Aerostar, or it's just factually inaccurate, and that could be the case, and you know, that's fine. But just so everyone out there knows, if you're watching this, you probably know already, the Aerostar was either rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, electronic 4-wheel drive. So that's kind of interesting. The next, now let's take a look at some of the rocker panels. Overall, actually not in bad shape. You know, there's definitely some rust coming, but you know, you see these things with the rockers completely rusted out. So that doesn't look like it's, you know, beyond saving. To me, of course, obviously not. You know, maybe it gets a little gnarlier as you go down, and definitely some surface rust in the frame there, but it honestly doesn't look too bad, especially for a Michigan car. You know, this one's even a little better, and we see some of that very nice pinstriping and side striping on the side. Now, if I was mechanically inclined, I could probably tell you that there is a lack of a transfer case here. Unfortunately, I am not that mechanically inclined, and working on it, but slowly. And so but I am just assuming this is a rear-wheel drive Aerostar. Okay, another very interesting thing. So of course we have the pre-facelift gauge cluster, which is very, very funny. I've talked about it in several videos, and if you haven't seen it, my slightly less brief introduction to the my 1986 Ford Aerostar is up now. That's gotten some really, really wonderful comments, and I appreciate that, and I will respond to everyone. Just been a little busy here at Janky AF. Looks like your gauges may or may not be working. The ones on my 86 are definitely not working right now, except for the speedometer. And of course, it's almost become famous now that, at least in my mind, that there is no tachometer on these Aerostars, and it simply turns yellow at 55 miles an hour to warn you that not your RPMs, but your speed is, you know, potentially doing damage to someone, whether that's the vehicle or you. And then at 75, it's bright orange or red, signaling that, you know, liftoff may be imminent if you don't slow down. Okay, so it says on the description 106,000 miles approximately. Now, if we zoom into this, we can say, and it's your obligatory mileage shot, and maybe for good reason here, because we see now, of course, this is only a 5-digit odometer, so it's 50645. It's either 50,000 or it's 150,000 if it's rolled over, or possibly even 250,000. Then I was thinking to myself, maybe, so how do you explain 106,000? either if it said 156, that would make sense, but it doesn't say that. Now I'm looking at these gas figures for mileage, and it's all in kilometers. So I'm thinking, even though this van's in Michigan, maybe it was a Canadian spec Aerostar. And I'd have to do some math in my head, but maybe 150,000, let's see, 60 miles is 100 kilometers. 62 miles is 100 kilometers, right? So maybe 150,000 kilometers is like 106,000 miles. But then I start looking, and usually if this was Canadian, you would think it would be reversed. So miles per hour would be the secondary characteristic here, and then kilometers an hour would be your primary. But it looks as if miles per hour is your primary and kilometers an hour is your secondary. So that begs the question, is this a Canadian Aerostar or not? The other thing I was thinking of, maybe just, you know, maybe in Canada they had some different options from the dealer in terms of the paint and stuff like that. And it's funny because it almost looks like a two-tone blue. Maybe that's just our eyes just playing tricks on us with the pinstriping sort of breaking up the color. In the other shots it looks to be more uniform. So very strange. And then you add on the aftermarket wheels, you know, unique color combinations, both exterior and interior, with this pinstriping and stuff like that. And it's just a very, very interesting Aerostar. I'm very curious about this one. Very cool interior, the sunroof, a lot of interesting sort of strange things going on with this. It does look like, yeah, like they say, actually, interior not the nicest, but decent condition. I would say that's 100% accurate. They don't mention a sunroof, which maybe they should. It's a good selling point. We do see a little paint coming off here. Perhaps that is a signal that it was something of a DIY job, although if it was, they matched the paint quite nice. So not a sport, but has the, you know, the grille and the bezels painted. Not a, well, it claims to not be a rear-wheel drive, but that's probably just a, you know, it's very understandable to think that a minivan would be front-wheel drive. Although these were, of course, rear-wheel drive. Looks like your antenna is a little bent there. That's too bad. Hate to see that. But a very, very cool Aerostar. And, you know, you could ask some questions, see what the deal is on it. They're firm on the price, looks like. We have some nice window sort of dressing up there. Looks like maybe some sort of, it's probably just the glare. I thought maybe it was a DIY tint of some sort. Very, very cool. You know, not a bad price, I'd say, if the mileage checks out, only 100,000 miles on it, $2,500 for, you know, a good running condition van. And new tires, you know, I just had to buy tires twice, one for my Transit, which I then sold, so I still have the tires, but I can't take them back, and then once for my 93 Aerostar. And, you know, even a decent set of tires is going to run you usually like $400. So, you know, it's not nothing when you're talking about the price on this vehicle. And it's just a peace of mind if you want to drive it home. You know, it's already got nice tires on there. You don't have to drive it on some bald tires while you get new ones. Yada, yada, yada. Really, really striking, wonderful, handsome, dashing Ford Aerostar here. I was going to do this at the beginning of the video, but I guess I'll save it for the end. We do have some updates on my 1993 Aerostar, and some, we just shot a whole bunch of super high quality footage. If you check me out on Instagram, afjanky, you'll maybe see a little sort of sneak preview of that, or little tidbits sneaking out. I don't want to reveal too much, but it was a really, really great day. And we got my buddy Evan's 86 up there, Aerostar up there as well. So 2 Aerostars roaming about. It was great fun. The great Avery manning the camera. And my 93 Aerostar, I just before I started recording this, I went and blew off the white walls. Didn't come off as well as I would have liked, but I'll throw that in there. So that is shining up real nice, and hopefully we're going to be able to do some, you know, a little bit of footage on that to sort of reintroduce it to the channel. So things are going well in Aerostar land. Aerostars abound, and that is what we like. So, you know, if you have any sleuthing of your own to do to maybe highlight some things about this vehicle that maybe I'm not aware of, please do chime in. And thank you so much for watching. And until next time, Janky do Thanky.
One small step for man, one giant leap